Hi everybody, I'm Cliff, and today I'm talking about MS, and this video is probably specifically for people that are seeking a diagnosis or who have just been diagnosed. This may be helpful for you. Okay, so I found this really cool graphic this morning, and it's from the people at Multiple Sclerosis Resources and Education. And it talks about weird symptoms of MS. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is, well, I don't know if they're that weird because I've had all of them. I guess they're weird in the sense that they just make you feel weird, but they're not really outlier symptoms. And if you're looking for a diagnosis, or if you're having what you think may be more symptoms, maybe this video will provide some clarity for you. And if you are a long-time MSer and you know what I'm talking about when you look at this, comment below with other weird symptoms you may have experienced that could help somebody that has no idea what they're going through right now, because we're all about helping each other feel a lot less alone. So let's hop into this. And what I did with this is we're going to talk about the symptoms. I'm going to talk about how the symptoms presented in me when I was first seeking a diagnosis, and even way earlier than that. Took me 10 years to get a diagnosis. And also, as a global community, how many people are affected by each one of these things. So I'm going to break this down with some numbers, which we love to do here. We love numbers because numbers quantify and qualify what we are experiencing and leave a little less guessing room, which is nice in this disease because there's a lot of variables in this disease and a lot of guessing. So let's hop into it. And first we're going to talk about the MS hug. The MS hug. And I first experienced this probably back in 2007, 2008. It presented as what I thought were allergies, and I felt like something was sitting on my chest, and I thought, well, maybe it's just depression. I didn't know really what was going on, and then I realized it was coming with other symptoms. And now looking back, it was definitely the MS hug. It finally turned into something much more sinister, and last year it hospitalized me. It felt like a heart attack. Well, we don't know what happened. I don't know if it's a flare or a relapse, but this morning I had a terrible time breathing. I'm in the ER right now. We're going to get a whole bunch of tests done. They're poking and prodding me, as you know, the routine. I'm starting to feel better. But such is life with MS. That's one thing I really want to highlight here with something like the MS hug, is we need to be real careful when we're living life with MS that we don't write off symptoms just as MS, because I'm 49 years old. It could have been a heart attack. It could have been a blood clot. So I'm glad I had it checked out. But I've seen there's a lot of people that can just write these things off, and they sometimes are not MS, and that can be very, very dangerous. Okay, so 25% of people, 1 in 4 in the global community of people with MS, experience the hug. And the hug can be anything from like having difficulty breathing and expanding your lungs to like feeling like you have something wrapped around you super tight. And one of the weird ones I had was I had a job interview, and I was super nervous about this job interview because I really needed the job at that time. And I remember like things got really bad, and I lost all feeling in my torso. I didn't know I had MS. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I had pinched a nerve in my back because that's what I was told from my general practitioner. And I started taking baths to try to relax about this job that I really, really needed. And I started not being able to feel my midsection at all. Like I would get in hot water, but I would still be freezing cold and having chills. I was way deep in a relapse at that point. I didn't even notice it. I didn't even know it. And so that was a weird way the hug presented. And then as it kind of grew more progressive over time, it began to like cinch down to the point. Last year, I had to call the ambulance. My wife had to call the ambulance because we thought, like I said, I was having a heart attack. So it can be something very mild to something very severe. Don't let someone just tell you it's in your head or in your chest. It's not a friendly hug. It's not the MS cuddle. It is a squeeze. And if you're experiencing these symptoms, figure out what's going on and just keep pushing for answers. This whole thing, you'll hear me talk about advocate for yourself, advocate for others over and over again, because so many of these things can be written off as like stress or depression or this or that. It's a tricky disease. People aren't telling you that it's all in your head on purpose, but it's hard to track down. So create a log of experiences, track environmental stuff. I could go off about this. There's I have videos about this. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can check my playlist. I talk all about the symptoms and how I logged them and how that helped prove my case that I was experiencing MS, so I could get the MRI, so I could get, basically the doctors to agree, yeah, this is MS. And by that time, it was way too late. Don't be me. It was really progressed by that time, and I was an idiot. I should have been more consistent with and more aggressive with seeking help. So, okay, let's move on. That's the MS hug. 1 in 4 people in the world, global MS community, experience the hug. I think it's higher than that, but that's the numbers I found. Can't really argue with that. Okay, number 2, the itching without a rash. This one drives me nuts. And it happens when it gets hot, and it just started getting really hot in North Carolina today, right between my shoulder blades where I can't reach it. When I start getting really, really hot, my shoulder blades start spasming, and I can feel them, feel like they're trying to like squeeze together. And then right in the middle, it itches like crazy. And no matter how I scratch it, how long I scratch it, I'll have my wife sitting there digging with her nails. Nothing helps until I cool down. That itch is there. In fact, it's there right now. I walked the dogs this morning. I overheated. It will drive me crazy. I don't know if there's anything that can be done about it. I try not to take a drug for every single thing, but cooling down seems to help. But how many people deal with it? Let me look at my numbers here. 31 to 35% of people living with MS in the global community report that itching without a rash is a thing. And I know people that have it on their arms, they have it on the back of their legs, they have it on their butt. I mean, it can be like the same spot every single time or a new spot every single time. And it is enough to make you think like you got bit by something, but there's no evidence of it. Everything looks fine. It just doesn't feel fine. So if that's happening to you, you're not losing your mind. It could be MS playing games on you. So is there anything to help with that? Let's see. I didn't see anything. Disease-modifying therapies can help with that. I don't know if I agree with that, but I'm not a doctor. I'm just a patient. Talk to your neurologist if this becomes an issue and it really is disrupting your your daily life activities. That's what we're going for, is like keep us walking and keep us feeling somewhat normal as much as we can. We don't have to deal with the pain if there's a way to fix it. All right, let's move on. The internal tremors, these ones, and I've seen so many people in the global MS community and on the MS community here on NeuroCliff comment about the tremors. And I get them all the time, especially on the really bad days. They are so bad that I just can't even get out of bed. And it's not that the tremors are tremoring me so much that I can't move. You can't really see them. It feels like just like an electrical wave going over your body, and it's just super uncomfortable and super hard to explain. It's like a vibration. But what I've discovered is it requires a ton of energy to produce that many vibrations in your body, and I just fatigue super fast on those days, and it's so hard for me to get out of bed. How many people does it affect in the global community? Well, there's internal tremors and there are external tremors. And for the internal tremors, which are the ones nobody can see and you don't feel them, like when you're trying to like reach for stuff and they don't seem to affect that, that is 36% of people. And then there's what they call the external tremors, which is 25 to 58%. Whereas like if you're reaching for something and this happens, trying to get a glass out of the cabinet, it's almost like a spasm, but you're tremoring at the same time. I do that all the time. I drop a lot of things. I've been starting to move stuff down the cabinets to lessen the impact distance to the counter so things don't shatter. So it is a thing, and it does affect 1/3 to 1/2 of the population with MS. And if you are experiencing those tremors, talk to your neurologist. And I'm sorry, because they really, really are super annoying and they require a ton of energy, so they're super fatiguing. And they interrupt with everything you're trying to do that day because they are so uncomfortable. 39% of people that have them report feeling them frequently, between 4 to 7 times a week. I would say about 2 times for me, depending on the weather. 32% experience them roughly once a day. That would be rough. 29% feel them less frequently, about 2 to 3 times per week. So, but MS is different in everybody and they can come and go. I would say I probably experience them once a week during the winter and probably twice a week during the summer. it can be pretty rough. Okay, so those are the internal tremors. If you're experiencing that, it's not all in your head, but it is in your neurological system, and it is probably MS. Talk to your neurologist. There might be something they can do for you, or there might be something you can change about your lifestyle that can help. That's really what helped me. Don't get too hot. Don't get too cold. Get lots of sleep if you can. Eat right. That's what helped me. And I'm sure people in my community here will comment below about what they do to help with the vibrations. Please let us know, because my process sort of works, but there are still days I just plain and simply cannot function with them. What do you do to help with your internal tremors? Because they're very uncomfortable. Okay, let's move on to the foot drop. And I've done a video about foot drop. I've got some other stuff coming up about foot drop soon. Foot drop is when you really can't pick your foot up. It's just like what it sounds like. And you like drag your foot, you end up tripping, and some people hurt themselves. That would be me. And it is the primary component of mobility challenges with MS. This is one of the things people see most often, and it is affecting 85% of people living with multiple sclerosis. Now, it was not my first symptom, but it was it came on in about year 2 or year 3 before that was long before I got diagnosed. But as I started noticing things, I started tripping more, my back started tweaking, I started having a lot of issues with coordinating my leg muscles. So 85% of people in the global community experience the foot drop. I've got videos on here about that. An early warning sign. For many, it isn't a late stage symptom. It is frequently one of the very first noticeable signs of MS. Your neurologist would probably tell you that. That with optic neuritis, which is seeing things in your eyes or dimming. And it's very, very fatiguing. And not only does it cause fatigue because you have to work extra hard to pick up your foot, you also have to, wow, I just cog fogged like nobody's business. Let me get back on track here. You can tell it's hot today. It's super fatiguing. Foot drop isn't constant, but it gets worse when people fatigue, obviously. Okay, so that is a thing. Watch for that. Now, for me, it happens mostly in my right leg, but I know for a lot of my friends that have MS, it's mostly in their left leg. There are things that can help with it, and I might be talking about some of those later on in other episodes. Cognitive glitches. Well, you just saw me have one of those, and those hit me when it gets hot or I get super fatigued. I went to a conference last week, the Consortium for Multiple Sclerosis conference in Charlotte. I was good for about the first 3 or 4 hours, and then after that, I just started speaking gibberish because my brain just fogged out. But how many people does this actually affect? Well, 40 to 65% of people. And if you're unfamiliar with the actual cog fog or cognitive glitches, you just can't seem to either put words in place, you're looking for the right words, you can't think of the right words, or things just seem to kind of stop and take a while to catch up. And that's because your brain is trying to push signals through different parts of your brain that aren't damaged by MS. So it not only does it take a while, it also requires an insane amount of energy. So if you're super fatigued after dealing with a cognitive glitch issue, it's because your brain is working really, really hard to move that information around to get it where it needs to be. So it's not just all in your head. You're not lazy. You're burning twice as much energy as an average person just having a conversation. So if you're feeling like those conversations are getting much, much more difficult with people, especially the really cognitive ones, they are getting much more difficult for you. And you're burning a lot of energy getting through them. So with MS, we get really good at being very direct with our words because we don't want to use a lot of them. Otherwise, we have the rest of the day to deal with and we have no energy to deal with it. So 40 to 65% of people living with MS experienced cognitive glitches or cog fog. And they can show up at any stage of MS, preclinical to postclinical. And the way they show up here is slowing of information processing speed. We talked about that. Memory retrieval hurdles. That is a huge problem. I write things down now a lot, which I should have done forever, but now it's especially important. And executive dysfunction occurring in 15 to 25% of individuals. This makes planning, prioritizing, multitasking, abstract reasoning feel incredibly exhausting. Amen to that one. I've never been good at multitasking, and now it takes an insane amount of energy. Balance and floating feeling. Oh, this one's super weird. So, okay, super weird. So we know that balance is an issue, right? Like 70 to 82% of people with the global MS community experience balance impairments at some point during the course of the disease. And I don't know of one single person that has MS, and I know a lot of people with MS that don't have an issue with balance. But then there's this thing, 49 to 59% of people experience, and I definitely just experience this, and it's a dizziness and a floating sensation. Like you're kind of in a boat. It's like spells come and go where you feel like, for me, it almost feels like I'm a little bit intoxicated. So if you're getting that balance issue, you notice your balance is getting worse. There's the age issue. We all get worse at doing things as we age. However, the balance thing can be really tied back to, the progression of the disease and also the environmental factors. My balance turns to crap when it gets hot. All right, now the next one, electrical shock sensation. 41% of people experience the electrical shock sensation up the arms, up the neck, when they bend the neck. These were some of my first symptoms. The vibrating shock sensation down the legs was one. 9 to 41% of people deal with that. And then there's the trigeminal neuralgia, which is the nerve in the skull right here is actually on the inside of the skull and on the outside. It wraps around. And I did a short on this yesterday. My sunglasses were causing a lot of issues with that because they run right across that nerve, and it was excruciatingly painful. And I finally narrowed it down to the sunglasses. But 2 to 6.3% of people with MS in the global community have this. And the trigeminal neuralgia can be very mild, but you feel it over here, or it can be absolutely debilitating. And I have to say, I've broken a lot of bones in my body over time. Nothing is as painful as that trigeminal neuralgia when it flares up. It is horrible. And so if you're feeling that, by the way, there are ways to fix it. Talk to your neurologist. I was dumb. I didn't ask him until like 3 weeks ago, and I've been living with it for like 10 years. But if I finally got to a point where I just could not get out of bed because if I moved my head at all, it was like someone was stabbing a nail through my head. Oh, it was bad. Okay, so that's a small percentage of people with that, but it is out there and it is very debilitating. Phantom smells and tastes. I did an episode about this about a year ago. On certain days, I can smell things like crazy far away, or maybe they don't exist at all. And then on other days, I can taste things that don't taste right. Of course, it's all nerves, right? So how many people have issues with that? Reduced or lost senses of taste is about 25% of the global MS community. And smell loss is about 20 to 40%. So that is a thing. And it was amazing to me when I did the episode on it about the phantom tastes and smells, how many people said, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was MS. And they just all came out of the woodwork. Your shorted out nervous system is playing games. Okay, sudden laughing or crying. The Pseudobulbar effect, as it is referred to. I have this. And I do tell a tragic story of where I went to a friend's funeral and started laughing. And then I've had situations where I've been in very funny things, very funny things going on, and I've started crying. Now, according to my stuff here, roughly 10% of people living with MS experience sudden outbursts, and it's because your brain gets confused when you get a flood of emotions, whether it be sad or happy. The signals get mixed, and you can end up laughing about something that's really sad, and you can end up crying about something that's really quite joyful. And so it's messed up. And you can't possibly explain it to somebody who does not have MS. There are higher estimates that up to 40% of the population suffers from this in some capacity, but 10% have it to where it affects daily life. So the Pseudobulbar effect, laughing or crying uncontrollably. It's quite embarrassing. I'm not going to lie about that one. All right, now let's talk about sensory misfires. Up to 80% of people will experience some form of altered sensation, sensory deficit during the course of their disease. In fact, for 20 to 50% of individuals, a sensory misfire is the first warning sign that leads to their diagnosis. They could be like pins and needles. They can be partial loss of physical sensation. I had that especially in my legs before I got diagnosed. Years before I got diagnosed, I thought it was a pinched nerve in my back. So did my general practitioner. And this also leads to things like the MS hug. That is also in this category. and the weird shooting of pain up and down the spine. If you're having these issues and someone just writes it off like, oh, well, it'll come and go. Maybe it's, maybe you're just having a bad week at work or something. Maybe it's just stress. Keep a log of this because it's so different in everybody. So it's on us as patients to build our story and build our case. All right, and the last one, and this affects, I don't care what the numbers say, it says 60 to 80%, according to my research on Solace Health. Heat sensitivity seems to affect at least 90% of the people I know with multiple sclerosis. For me, it's an absolute killer. 60 to 80% as a global community. If you feel like this summer is exceptionally difficult and you have other things on this list that seem to be popping up and you're seeking that diagnosis, or you've got a lot of questions around this, write this stuff down, whether it be on your computer or on your phone or in a handwritten log that you take with you, or if you have a loved one that will do it for you. We have a hard time recalling things. So if you put everything in storage up here and then you go to your appointment and you have 15 minutes to talk to your neurologist, you're not going to get a chance to cover all this stuff. And also what I found is if you write it down, you can leave it behind. You can say, I know you don't have time, doctor, to look at it right now, but please, when you get a second, look at all these notes I made. I summarize them for you. You can see them in detail if you have to. That's it. Those are weird symptoms of MS that aren't really that weird. I think they're pretty common, but they can be weird to someone who's never experienced them before, and they can be weird when they show up and when they go away, or if they don't go away, or if they don't show up. So that's how they can be weird. Do you have weird symptoms of MS that you would tell somebody who may be seeking a diagnosis is something that affected you that you've never heard of in anybody else? Or is there one of these things on this list that was like your first symptom that just kind of like was nail in the coffin? Like you're like, this has got to be MS. And then you talk to your neuro. Comment below. I want to know. Like, share, and subscribe if you don't mind. We'll get this information out there. We'll help people living with MS feel less alone, learn how to manage their disease better. And I need a nap because this has worn me out. All right, I'm Cliff. This is Life with MS, and I will see you next time. Whoop.